All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another virtual edition of To Die For. Um, Today, as you can see in the heading, we're going to do tie-dyed socks, and this is um, to supplement the in-person version of this that we did at the Lamb Library last week on March 10th. And then I think due to weather, we didn't have a lot of folks in attendance, so we're going to do this again in person at Lamb on April 14th. Um, at 6 p.m. in the basement meeting room there at Lamb. And uh, once again, we will be providing the socks and the dye. If you do want to bring something else to dye, like a shirt or something, you're more than welcome to bring it. But do go ahead and register. There's 10 slots. They go pretty quick. So yeah, either give us a call here or give Lamb a call and they can get you registered. Um, Anyways, let's dive in. So if you've done some uh, been wanting to learn how to do some socks, first of all, I always recommend, if you can, 100% cotton items. Also for socks, though, bamboo socks are a good option. A lot of tie-dyers are a big fan of those. Um, or some socks you might find might be like 98% cotton with like a little spandex in it, and those are just fine. That little 2% isn't going to make the socks pop any less. Um, but anyways, I have some videos here to show you. Um, Let me switch screens, sorry. To show you how you can tie them first, and then we'll do the dyeing afterwards. So first in this video, and I'm just going to let's speed it up like we usually do. Um, so here have the two have the pair of socks here, and you could either overlap these and do this together. Let's slow that down after all. Um, But anyways, you can either put these on top of each other or do them one at a time. I did them one at a time here, um, but putting them on top of each other is just fine. But anyways, what you want to do is do the pleat accordion folds up the length of the sock. And once again, this is just one way to do them, but it's a favorite of mine. Um, And then I just put two rubber bands on each sock, one on each side. And then just make sure those are pretty tight. Um, and then we'll switch to the other sock. And same thing, pleat accordion folds just up the length of the sock. And uh, I'm just trying to go by feel here. But just feeling that the pleats are and the folds are about the same size, um, just so the socks, somewhat match. And then once again, the two rubber bands, and then get those on there pretty tight. As you can see, I'm wrapping them twice to get them fairly snug. And then that'll happen sometimes. They'll kind of bunch, so you just have to play with it so it lays flat. And then I think yeah, set those aside, and we'll bring in the other pair now. And a little indecision here on my part originally. So yeah, I had them flipped like this first, and I was going to try twisting them this way. Um, we'll kind of skip ahead to where I and yeah, even tied them and decided I didn't want to go that route. So let's skip ahead a little bit. So I turned them inside so the heels weren't touching, and was originally thinking of yeah, a lot of indecision here. So I was going to tie them individually as spirals, but then yeah, decided nah, let's put them together like this so the centers are touching. Take my clothespin, and clothespin once again is just great in general for spirals. Um, just helps you get a good grip on it and helps for tighter spirals. All right, and then just while those are bunched up, just kind of twist the whole thing together. And then just once again, 2 rubber bands, and wrap them twice, get it pretty snug. And you don't really end up with a spiral with this. It's just to see how the dye sits in the fabric, and we'll see the result here in a minute. But yeah, just making sure once again that that's pretty tight. And then let me skip ahead a little bit here. So then I don't typically show this part in my tutorials, but I wanted to this time, the soda ash soak. So I have a bowl there just with cold water from the tap, and then I put in probably, I usually have my measuring spoon, but I had to eyeball it, but probably about a quarter cup. And I'd already put some in at this point. I was just adding a little more just to make sure there was plenty. And then you just take them and put them in and get them submerged, um, so the entirety of the fabric can get a good soak. And we'll skip ahead so we're not watching the whole process of that submerging. All right, and so the 2 socks wound together are now submerged at the bottom of the bowl, and then we'll add the 2 socks that were tied separately in. And then sometimes I usually do this in a bucket, but the bowl for socks, is pretty good, and you have to push them in a little bit just to make sure that they get a good soak. And then I let those soak for probably about an hour. And my recommendation is at least an hour. Um, I wouldn't try not to do less than that, but at least an hour. And I've even let things soak like overnight, and actually that's typically what I do. All right, now let's back up and let's see the dyeing process. And pardon the inside of my bin there. A lot of I need to clean that out. A lot of kind of crystallized dye particles and soda ash particles have built up there. But anyways, we're starting with the 2 socks that were done as pleat folds. And so I'm doing yellow in the center first. Oh, got a little blip of yellow there, but that's okay. And I'm going to dye these identically. And just make sure it's pretty saturated. And I do wish I'd gotten a little more dye in. The final result still looks cool, but I wish I'd gotten a little more dye in there. And then I think from here, yeah, we'll add the red now. And kind of see that dye running over, which is okay. It's kind of what I want. This is a good way to get the orange and green or a little orange and green in there without actually using orange and green. And then other side, I'll use blue. And after these had soaked in the soda ash solution, um, then I just kind of wring them out so they're not sopping wet, but still, wet, but yeah, not sopping wet. And then we're going to flip them over. And I'm doing the entire opposite side with black. And one thing I did forget to mention too, with the socks that we'll be providing at Lamb, they are one pair per person. Um, and then just once again get a pretty good soak of black in there. And then we'll set those aside. Let's kind of zip ahead a little bit. And here's the two socks that were tied together. And I didn't really have a plan as much for these. I just kind of grabbed random colors. So I did use orange here. And then what did I use next? Okay, yellow. And then I think I did red. Yeah, did red next. And the cool thing with this pair of socks is like pattern wise, they don't match, but they just have a lot of bright color in them. And so I still think they're pretty awesome. And then add some blue. And then I think I flipped it over. Oh, yeah, I gotta wipe that up a little bit. And then just add black on the entire opposite side. And then I think when I was dyeing, I didn't see this blank spot there until I kind of peeked over, and I can't remember if I added more dye there or not. We're going to find out here in a second. Yep, add some more red, just fill that in. All right, let's back out of that. Okay, so now it's time for the big reveal. So I'll do the two socks that I uh, tied together, doing that spiral. So these are how those turned out. Yeah, pretty random with the color placement, but what I'm always going for is just bright and vibrant, and definitely got that. And then the two that I dyed individually, and yeah, that effect with the black is yeah, pretty cool. I love how that turns out. You get those black stripes in there. Um, so yeah, I look forward to sporting those. But anyways, thanks again. Uh, Once again, I'll say it again if you missed the first part of the video, but April 15th or 14th, day before tax day at the Lamb Library, Thursday evening, 6 o'clock. we'll do the tie-dyed socks again. And you do need to register. There's 10 spots. I don't know how many there are currently, but they typically go pretty quick. And we will provide one pair of socks for each participant. And then you're more than welcome to uh, bring something else to dye if you'd like, and just have a fun little tie-dye session. Um, uh, and also, too, I almost forgot to throw this in there, but at the Jidone Library on April 8th, we'll be doing tie-dyed Easter eggs. So I don't recall the cap on that, but check with the Jidone Library for registration on that. But once again, thanks for tuning in. I know my times have been kind of inconsistent with this, so thanks for your patience, and hope everyone has a good remainder of the week and a nice weekend. And take care.